What is up and what is good? Welcome back to the Young Bucks Podcast, episode number 83. I'm back. This is Henry. I'm back with Chris. Back from the bye week.
Yeah, Henry took his bye.
I took a bye week last week. A lot going on. We can get into it, but happy to be back. Happy to be back on this fine December Sunday afternoon.
It wasn't really feeling like a December Sunday, but it is now for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I just noticed the pants are still over there on the floor.
Oh, yeah?
That made me laugh.
Bothering you?
No, just made me laugh.
So, last week, you and Kyle took the reins.
The Stash Show.
It was pretty funny.
I'm not going to say that.
Yeah.
It definitely didn't happen.
Okay. I hear you. But yeah, so the reason last week that they ended up recording was...
why weren't you here last week?
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm glad you asked. Really looking forward to explaining. With the weather changes, I wasn't sick per se, but just trending towards not feeling well. And Kyle and I, well, actually, I guess just me. I'm really losing track of like where we've even been, because I think that episode that was last week was 82.
Yep.
You and I recorded it.
Yes.
Right? We recorded it.
That happened.
It wasn't great. It wasn't our best work, so we were like, we're gonna re-record this Sunday. Boom, I'm sick. I'm not feeling well, so Kyle does it. But in that episode, we talked about painting and how I don't think I've even mentioned it on the podcast. So, like, the week after the bike race as a landmark, because that's, like, one of our episodes.
Yes, you have talked about painting on this podcast.
I have?
Yes.
Okay.
Me, you, Kyle, Noah had an episode. You guys talked about working together.
But I don't think we talked about it too in depth.
Do we need to talk about too in depth?
We don't really need to.
All right.
But I don't even remember mentioning it.
Just give him a quick rundown on what you do.
So, I started painting part-time in the beginning of November.
See, from my perspective, I've heard this like 4 different times.
But we talk more in real life.
I feel like each week on the podcast, you bring it up again. Like you and Kyle somehow find a way to bring it up.
I don't know, man.
But just keep going.
Regardless. So,
I'm not trying to throw any shade.
As I've been for the past year plus in the real estate world, real estate industry, local business, I am still doing that on the other part-time. But another realtor that I know found out that I started painting, and like a few days later had like a side job for me.
What?
Offered it to me, which was cool. It was like, this is interesting. Like,
Whoa. Turn off that ringer.
I only recently got into learning this skill, and I've already...
Why did it sound like that?
I don't know. That was Instagram. I don't know if this picked it up, but anyway. I've only recently gotten into building this skill, and I'm already finding a way to monetize it outside of the hours, for myself. So I was like, this is interesting.
Woo!
But like I said, I've only been doing it for like, at that point, like 3 or 4 weeks. So I was very forward with that. I was like, look, I have not been doing this very long. I don't know what your level of expectation is for what you need, but like, I'll come check it out. And da-da-da-da-da. And they basically were just like, you know what, we just need the job done. Like, it doesn't really matter how long you've been doing it. So, like, it made sense for me to, like, dive into this without really knowing what I was doing for myself. Obviously, with doing it for a few weeks, I had the process down a little bit, like, knew what to do. And painting and sanding, repairing, it's not, like, the most complicated thing. But, like, executing...
But it takes a long time.
It does take a long time.
It takes a while.
It's tedious, patience, and on top of working full time while needing to do this was also a challenge. So that's where, like, last Sunday was when Kyle and Chris recorded, and for 5 hours before that had been recorded, like, I was at the job site painting and figuring it out, and that was the first day. And then Monday, Tuesday, Friday night, this past week, I was there. Like 2-3 hours, and then yesterday morning, Saturday morning, finished it out like for
Yeah.
another 3.5 hours. So overall, it took me like a week to do it. Got a good, got a better payday than I was anticipating.
Yeah, that's
that was
that's
nice.
always plus.
Did I tell you?
Like
About
how
it?
much you got?
No,
did
I just
tell
don't
you
know if
that
I
you got
talked
paid.
about it.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
okay.
talked that you got paid already.
So that was
what
was
was
cool.
your biggest learning experience while doing solo work for the first time?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Oh yeah.
I would say my biggest learning experience was like, I don't know, just like there's no like perfect scenario, I guess, when it comes
Oh,
to
yeah.
like taking action on that type of stuff. Because in my mind, I'm like, yo, and I was doing it with a good intention, like, you know, I haven't been doing this for very long. You know, I guess was like underselling myself
Yeah.
and allowing them to like make a decision based on that rather than like overselling myself to say like, you know, I'm the best. I'm gonna get this job done for you. Like it's gonna be the best painting job you've ever seen. Like I didn't come at it with that energy, and I don't think I needed to. But like I could do. I was able to fulfill more than I was giving myself credit for.
Yeah.
I think that was a big takeaway for me. Was like, you know, I was like, yes, I'll do this job. I don't know what equipment I need. I don't know how long it's going to take me. I have no idea how much of a quote to give you, but like, I will figure it out. And in a week's time, I went from that point of like, I don't really know how to do this to like getting it done and getting paid. And it was like
Yeah.
pretty cool. Like,
Yeah.
That I would say that was my learning experience. Was like I could do it regardless of if I thought I could in the beginning.
Yeah. I think so your boss that you paint for, he came and spoke to me, not just to me, but to like my whole class when I was in high school. And he actually taught me something that's probably been one of the most valuable things I've learned. And I don't even think he knows this.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. But like the reason that I'm doing construction is because he said that like it's okay to fail and not be perfect. Like in everything that you do. And
Yeah.
so like I've actually taken that to heart. That's why I'm in construction right now, is really because he said that. I don't even think he knows that, but like that's
Well,
one
he
of
definitely
the
does not know that.
no, that's one of the main driving forces like behind, like, because I was like, well, I mean, I was always scared that I was gonna fail and like not be like the perfect at it, but like he was like, I like spray, like he's a painter, he's like spraying, he painted like some dude's whole car on accident. Like
Oh,
I remember
shoot.
he said that story. I don't want to put him on blast or anything, but you know.
Yeah.
So like it's okay to fail at like what you're doing because you actually learn the most by failing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I definitely take like by doing like even with when I was doing boats,
Yeah.
the guy I was doing boats with, he was like, yeah, dude, my record time is like we did one in 15 minutes with one of my guys, and I was like, all right, that's the goal. I want to be able to do it, and we did do one in like 17 minutes or something.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, why aren't we doing all of them like that? And then I was
Yeah.
like, well, sometimes there's water on the boats. Sometimes there's like people don't take their covers off. Sometimes the bimini tops up. Sometimes like there's
He's
different-
casually dropping Bimini top, like we all know what that is.
So you know the big, like when there's a big cover over top.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's a bimini top.
Okay.
And like sometimes the boards aren't cut. Sometimes we have boards pre-cut. Sometimes I gotta go cut the boards. You know. Sometimes we don't have enough string. Like sometimes it's windy. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely like it's not gonna be perfect every time.
Yeah, and that's something too. Like
Stars will not always align.
he does reiterate that, like, even like getting into the job, it's like, man, I don't know how to do this, and this, but he's like, I'll just do it. Because like after, he'll be like, oh, sand this room. I'm like, well, I'll go and do it, and then be like, how does this look? And he's like, it looks good. Like the only way you're gonna know how to do it is really like just getting thrown into it and trying it and doing it. So
Yeah.
definitely reiterated there, and also with the podcast too, like just evaluating where we're at with it is like it's way better to be 83 episodes into it and not where we want to be 83 episodes into it
Yeah.
than to like the last year and a half been like, yo dude, we should really start that podcast.
Should
Yeah.
definitely start the podcast.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Just like it's just good that like whatever we've done with it, like we've learned from
Yeah, absolutely.
different things. So yeah.
Learning. Life is about learning.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, have you found your journal yet?
Dude,
or your
stop.
Bible?
No, I have not found it yet. I don't know where it's at. I have no idea where it could be.
What's your...
I forgot to mention it today.
What's the time? It's been like 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
So, it was our last day of group. So that was the last week
It's like 2 weeks.
of, 2 weeks. It's been 2 Sundays.
What's been your supplement? Like, have you found like a new thing to write in? Or like
No,
a new...
just keeping it all in. I've been keeping it all in.
Why?
It's not
Just
great.
go buy a new journal.
Because it's not the same. I don't know why I'm keeping it all in, but like, I had my thoughts on that thing, dude.
If I gave you one of my blank ones, would you use it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like,
I'll
I
grab one.
I also want to find a new one, or I want to find mine.
It's probably at the church.
Dude, it's not because I brought it home.
See,
Okay. I have a
okay,
theory.
see,
I have a
you
theory. I have a
say
theory. I have
that.
a theory. It accidentally got put somewhere with other things.
Like the trash can.
I'm thinking like attic, or like it just
Okay.
got put with a bunch of
So,
stuff.
like,
you know what I'm saying?
You're here alone for a day. You think you could find it if you dug through everything.
Absolutely.
Okay, so why don't you?
Cause
You don't want to find it.
no, because I don't know, dude. Like I don't know. I just like it's annoying.
So
I just like I know for 99.9% truth that I brought it inside
Yeah.
post group. So it's I know it's here,
Okay.
but I just do not know where.
Yeah.
And I know that I did not put it wherever it's at because yeah, I don't know, dude.
So have you been like reading anything?
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah,
what do you read from?
my phone,
What have you been reading?
Matthew.
Like a chapter a day?
Just read it.
It's like what? Well, okay. So like what? Like over the last week or so, what have you taken away?
Well, I read.
Or do you
read a
even
lic-
know because you can't write it down?
No, I found ways to get it out. I'll text people.
Okay. I haven't received a text.
Yeah, no, you're not that special.
Oh shoot,
But no, I don't know. Did you listen to last week's episode?
I did.
So me and Kyle had that challenge, and we're sticking to it. At least we've tried to, for the most part. But
Have you been texting each other about it?
Yeah, we'll text different things back and forth. Okay.
Come on, Chris.
I'm
shut
finding
up.
it. I'm finding it.
So the challenge was you're each going to read the Bible until the next episode you record with each other.
I think so. I don't really remember it all. But so on Tuesday, definitely Tuesday was all right. Fantastic work by you, my friend.
Whoops.
Tuesday I read Matthew 18, and yesterday we found our way to Matthew 22. So
All right.
yeah, about a chapter a day.
Okay.
Probably.
So okay. Well, regardless, what's like a good takeaway that you got, or something that you could share that like
Okay.
I don't know. It kind of goes along with the way you experienced life this week.
So there's been a lot going on this week. Like as far as work and everything goes, like I wasn't really like enjoying work this week. It was kind of just like, bleh. It's kind of a bleh week.
Yeah, I feel you.
And so, like I was always waiting to get home, and then I've been reading scripture throughout the day. I've been trying to let it resonate with me, and like be in my head. Like I do enjoy reading different like parables because there's a lot of parables in there.
Yeah, yeah.
But one of the cool verses was that I sent to Kyle last night was Matthew 21:19-22. And it says, and he noticed a fig tree. Jesus is walking through, and he notices a fig tree beside the road. He went over to see if there was any figs, but there were only leaves. And he said to it, "May you never bear May you never bear fruit again." And immediately the fig tree withered up. The disciples were amazed when they saw this, and asked, "How did the fig tree wither so quickly?" Then Jesus told them, "I tell you the
Y'all
truth.
got no faith. Sorry.
I tell you the truth. If you have faith and don't doubt, you can do things like this and much, much more. You can even say to the mountain, 'May you be lifted up and thrown into the sea,' and it will happen. You can pray for anything, and if you have faith, you will receive it."
Shoot.
Yeah, no. I was like, wow. Like, could you imagine? And then he said, I want to give Kyle some credit. He was like, "Can you imagine like being there and seeing the tree wither up like that?
That'd be crazy.
That'd be pretty cool."
But like the thing, I actually, no lie, I was talking to a friend about this yesterday. Like that exact version. He was like, "Man, like it says that. Like that's what we have the power to do.
Exactly, dude.
Like that happened on Earth."
Like, I don't know why people don't think like we can do that still. Like, we definitely can. It just takes faith. And maybe we just, I don't know. Like faith is a very broad thing, you know?
Yeah.
Because like you just have to believe. You just have to have faith. But then it's also more narrow.
Yeah, like a like a practical thing there. Like thinking about that, like if you picture that in your mind, you're like desert town,
Yeah.
like the old times, like.
I mean, there wasn't no
centuries ago.
cities or nothing. But like,
That's what I'm saying. But like, what changed is like there's just been over time just like so many distractions that have happened. Now it's like nobody thinks about that kind of stuff. But like when he was there, like religion, like that's what like these places were like built on. These places were founded on, and he came to obviously fulfill like the prophecy of the Bible and continue on to have Christianity be what it is today. But like it was almost like if you think about it in your head, it's like there was nothing else to do except be religious and work. Like, and now there's just so many things like sports and entertainment and media and travel but listen to podcasts.
Just a
music,
lot of different things that just get in the way.
You can like just constantly consume things, like not really think for yourself. Like there's so many things to do, to spend time on, that like you think about like, oh, that was just something that happened back then. Like the fig tree gets
right.
shriveled
And that's
up.
how I've always been. And then then you start to see things happen, like when you pray, and then you start to see I had this thought the other day.
What's that?
I was like, what if everything that happens is just an answered prayer?
Shoot.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like maybe someone's praying for us right now that we do God's will for our lives. But this is what it is, and maybe the growth is someone praying, but maybe it's us, maybe it's someone else, praying that the podcast would grow, and maybe I don't know, I was thinking what if every little thing that happens is just someone else's prayer being answered,
Just you think of a detective solving a crime,
yeah,
and it's how all the strings attached to the pictures and the documents and stuff like that, everything goes together for one thing. Yeah, that's interesting.
Just every little circumstance is just an answered prayer.
That's interesting.
I know. I was like, wow, it's kind of cool.
Something that, this will be a little bit of a stretch, but it goes with it.
All right.
Is so I had the thought, I was like, I'm working, I'm getting bored, I'm listening, I'm not really listening to anything. So I texted our group chat. I was like, yo, who listens to sermons? I just wanted to start seeing if I could start listening to sermons. But Christian content can be an interesting thing. You can find people on one spectrum, another spectrum, different extremes here and there. So I'm like, let me text the people that I know, see what I can find. So one guy, I was just the first guy that I saw, I was like, I'll start listening to his stuff. And he talked about the story of how after Jesus had ascended and gone to heaven,
okay,
the disciples went out and started frantically preaching the word. Like they just went out and like
That's what they did.
they did like what
They were continuing Jesus' ministry.
because they were like Jesus was like I'm gonna be back one day, and they're like, is he gonna be back like next week, next month, whatever? So like,
Right.
they just wanted to do what they could on earth, like because they believed in the promises and everything. So James and Peter were two of Jesus's like closest people,
Yeah.
and James, I can't remember if they were both Herodian people, both Herod's people in the leadership in the government, but like James gets captured for this. Like he's like, I need James dead, and so he captures James, puts him to trial, and he dies.
Okay.
But everyone who followed what James was saying, the disciples and stuff like that, they were all praying that God would be like, God in your sovereignty, like save James, like just save James.
Okay.
And then, but James dies,
Right.
and then it's like Peter, the same thing happened to Peter, and like the day before he's supposed to go and die, he's in the jail cell next to like sleeping with the soldiers like are by him, and the angel comes, wakes him up, and says, "Let's go," and like basically like delivers him out of here. Like think like jail escape room from a show or something. And then Peter goes to like one of the houses of the people that are praying for him, and he's like, "I'm alive, I'm well." And then this little girl like goes and like she's the one who answers the door. She like leaves before Peter even says anything. She goes back and tells the people, and she's like, Peter's alive. Peter's like, he's here. Like, and they're like, no, stop that. Like, we got to pray for Peter. Like, let's focus on praying for Peter. It's like, that's not the point of what I'm trying to make, but that was just like part of the explanation that he had. But it was like, God, like people prayed for James to be saved. People prayed for Peter to be saved. James died and Peter lived. Like he was delivered in that moment. And it was like a testament to like prayer and like what, like, did God answer the prayer or not? Type of thing.
Okay.
Even though it was like two different outcomes, like God still being like the same.
Oh yeah, because there were probably people that needed to learn by James dying.
Right.
There were probably things that people like needed to learn that like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like in the absence of James,
The influence of what that
like
was.
kind of like with Jesus. Jesus is ascending so that we can continue his ministry on earth, right? Like people could have been like please stay, but he had to ascend so that we could do it ourselves.
Yeah.
With him, we could be the slope.
Yeah. But that's interesting that you say that about like, you know, I pray that like this will happen, but it might not be for me, but like it'll happen, but like you might never even know. It's just like the integrity of praying like allows the good things in the kingdom to happen.
Yeah. No. Yeah, it was a pretty cool thought that I had. I didn't know about it, but I enjoy prayer. I enjoy praying for people. Is that selfish?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't think it is.
It's one of those things that like could be, but it's a good thing.
It's not selfish.
No, I mean like the way you say it.
Could
Like come across that way.
Yeah, you're right. But no, I do enjoy it. Enjoy prayer. But there's something else I wanted to say. You got something?
Well, like another thing from that conversation that I was alluded to before.
With Peter and James?
No, the fig tree.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about, like, he said it in such a way that, like, I had never thought about it this way. But, like, in Revelation, like, I can't remember who it's talking about because I don't think it's talking about John.
Okay.
So, like,
John.
bear with me here on this, like, limited in detail
Okay.
explanation.
Or bearing.
But there's a follower of God who an angel comes to him, like, either when he, like, before he dies or, like, when he's going to die.
Yeah.
After he's died, and gives him, like, the crown for his life that he lived on earth, and he's like, no, I can't take it. Like, I can't have that. And then the angel puts it on him anyway, and then he's standing, and it's just like so white, like so bright,
Right.
and then it splits down the middle, and like Jesus comes out, and he's sitting on the throne, and then the believer like chucks the crown on the ground because he's like, I'm not worthy. Da da da. Like that was like a picture of like what the point of it all is like that one day, like that is like I guess like the purpose for the Christian, or like to think about. So like aside here real quick is like I feel like I'm starting to like learn about Christianity like I never was one before.
Yeah.
It's really weird. Like,
no, for sure.
do you know what I
dude.
mean?
Yeah, I do.
It's like since I graduated and kind of like started becoming an adult, it's like I've been as a kid, as a growing up young adult, middle school, high school, I was always in those circles. I was always in those communities, church, Christian school. That I never really like questioned things. It was like, this is just how things are. So now I'm like starting to learn about things, and it's like, oh, like this is like new information. But should it feel like new information since I've grown up in all this? But like it is. Like I feel like I'm like
relearning it for the first time though.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to say it. Like I'm relearning it, but it feels like it's for the first time.
Yeah. No, I 100% understand like what you're saying. For sure. Like yeah.
And to think about that, like in that moment, like everything in your life is like just on display in that moment. Like every decision you made, everything that happened. So like thinking about that in mind, like even in the past like 24 hours of like the times I'll think about it, it's like that is like that is what should help you make the decision, is like thinking about that moment. What like so there's there's like to sin or not to sin, let's say.
Right.
Oh, like one day I believe that I'm going to be standing in front of Jesus, so I'm going to not sin. Like that being like the purpose, the mission behind how you make decisions, if that makes sense.
Is the way to do it or not the way to do it?
No, like that is a way to do it. Cuz I was like, oh, like him like getting that picture painted in my mind was like, oh, that makes sense. So then it's like, oh, well, if I'm thinking about like that moment in a given instance, it's like I'm going to act a different way.
Yeah.
But like
true.
but like not because like, oh, I just want to like get the passing grade. It's like I want to actually live that way.
I think, yeah, I understand what you're saying, and I feel like living, like if you're faced with a choice, like to sin or not to sin, the reason you make the choice to not sin is because he died and rose to save you from having to make the choice.
Hmm.
So before he died, it was just the bad choice. All you could choose was to sin, right?
No, because it was the law. So it was like, you don't eat this stuff. You do this stuff on these days.
Okay,
you don't work.
right,
Like it was
right,
like
right.
so like you just followed the law.
Right. But once he died, there became the choice, like whether to sin or not to sin. But you choose the reason to not sin because he died for your sin.
Yeah. But that like it goes hand in hand. Like it goes like, oh, he's the God who died, and then like he's who you'll stand before.
Right.
But I just never thought about it like, because that did start to become a question in my head. Is like, okay, like I'm a Christian. I hear people say like be eternally minded. Like there's a verse in the Bible that says keep your mind on things above
Yeah.
and not the things of this earth. And it's like, well, what is that like? What does that even mean? Like, what is like? How does that look in someone's life?
Yeah.
But then like talking to him yesterday, and like just keeping that in mind as a piece to that, not necessarily like that's how you got to think about this, but just like that is a way to be eternally minded and make better decisions.
Yeah, for sure. It's a great perspective. I think if I forgot where I was gonna go with that. I was gonna go somewhere with it, but it left my mind.
It kind of goes hand in hand with the movie we watched.
Yeah,
A little
it
bit.
does. It does.
Did you have any like thoughts on that, like to share?
No, not to like share. I just think it was a good movie because of like the
What was the movie,
storyline.
by the way?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I can only imagine. Uh, I just think I like the movie because of the story behind it. I think it was a good movie. I just don't have any thoughts on it because like I just think it was really I think it was a bold movie. I don't really have any like in-depth like thinking one way about the movie. I just think that it was just like a good movie with a great story. It makes a lot more sense behind the song, like how you even get to a point where you're thinking about like only imagining, because like that's all we can do. We can only imagine what it's gonna be like when we're up there.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of just took his dad's death and like wrote,
Yeah.
like imagining what he can see, what his dad's seeing now that he's dead
Yeah.
and up in heaven. You know,
Mm-hmm.
just perspective with the song, well, mainly my thing.
Yeah.
Nothing too like in depth about it, for me at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Like it's a good it's a good story. And also it kind of like is like, oh, that people who write these songs, like there's more behind it than just like, oh, I wrote a song and we sing it as like a band or like a person. Like there's a reason. The only reason he wrote that song is because of the way he experienced life.
Yeah. Right.
Did you have something else that you were trying to get into?
Okay. So this week, I was reading something, and it was good. It was strong because it was like, it was talking about defiling. Like, the Pharisees were like, why aren't you washing your hands before eating or something like that? And God's like, or Jesus is like, well, he responds to him and he's like, it's not what comes in that defiles you. It's how you use what comes in and like get it out. You know, how you like get out of, like how you express it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I could hear my coworker swearing, but that's not going to defile me. It's only how I act upon hearing that's going to defile me. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, it's not like, and it was talking about like sexual purity and that sort of thing. And like, it's not like what you're hearing or taking in that's like defiling you. It's how you express what you see. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How you act on it. And then, so that's why he was like, it doesn't matter if they wash their hands or not. Like, that's not going to defile them. I think that's what it was. But anyway, so in the next chapter, or maybe a little later in this chapter, it says, what sorrow awaits the world because it tempts people to sin. Temptations are inevitable, but what sorrow awaits the person who does the tempting. So it's like, sorrow is coming for this whole world, like bad things, the world is not ready for what's going to happen, because like the world is tempting people. The world wants people to sin. The world wants people, like living for the world is going to cause you to fall into sin. But the real temptations are inevitable to come across. There's always going to be people tempting you, but it's the sorrow that awaits the person who does the tempting. You can
I
be
see.
you can be tempted. Like temptations are all around. We're gonna be tempted. But the real sorrow is for who's doing the tempting to us.
Because like hell and
Yeah.
after the life.
What's gonna come after? That was strong.
Was that in Matthew?
Yeah. It was. Something else cool that happened in church today. They were talking about Jesus riding in on the donkey, right? Jesus rode in on the donkey. It's Palm Sunday. People are taking off their coats and they're like not like their clothes, but like their coats, like their this pullover. I would lay that down because the horse that Jesus is riding is not worthy because he's on it to touch like the ground. And you have all these people praising him and worshiping him as he's riding in on Jerusalem. And the
Palm
leaders,
Sunday?
yeah, Palm Sunday. And you have the leaders that are like, why are you letting them praise you? Like, why are these people praising you? Like, why are you letting all these people just like give you all this praise and worship? And Jesus goes, if they weren't worshiping me, then the stones in the ground would be.
Shoot.
Yeah. Like,
Interesting.
like, because that's how worthy he is of all of it. So, like, even the inanimate objects would be like,
shoot.
yeah. So, like, even if you choose not to worship, if you choose like not to give Jesus your praise, like, the rocks will though. Inanimate objects. Like, not saying that like he's not like the tree's not gonna start talking,
Sure.
but like like it's kind of a figure of speech, but yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that, like, when I hear that, it also kind of, like... Excuse me. I think about it. Nah, I still am feeling a little under the weather. I'm not going to say I'm fully over it.
Let's just go get Kyle.
Oh, boy. But, no, I was going to ask, do you think, does in your mind it seem like God created everything? So, like... God is like in those rocks, like in a, you know what I mean? Like, sure. Not like actually, but like, since he created them, they're like his.
Yeah. Oh, they are for sure.
So does it like reflect? Like he's saying like these will reflect me because like I'm in them too. Like I'm in this creation.
Like, yeah. Because
like
God created everything. God created all the planets, all the stars, placed them everywhere. So like. Those are there to glorify him. Like those by spinning around the sun, that's them glorifying him. Because that's what he created them to do.
Do they spin around the sun?
Dude, yes. Solar system.
What does?
Solar system. All the planets. All the stars. The stars shining. The stars burning because the sun is burning. That is fulfilling what God wanted it to do. You know what I'm saying?
What about the sun and the dome?
We're not having the conversation.
Firmament.
I'm all in on the dome, but we're not talking about it right now.
That's fair. Episode 90. Watch out.
You know though?
What?
Like you know what I'm saying? Like we're just the only planet that he put people on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like everything in the universe, by doing its job, by burning, by revolving around the sun, by like absorbing the atmosphere around it, like having it be like as like the planets are gas giants, you know, like those being there is glorifying God because that's the purpose he created it for. God created us for a purpose, and we have to do our best to glorify God through what we do with that purpose. You know what I mean? Like as humans, we're just the only ones that have to like try and strive for it because we sinned. The planets can't sin.
I
You know
learned
what
that.
I mean?
Here's some quick thing. That is.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It piggybacks off what you were saying.
Okay.
Like the curse of man is to work.
Yeah.
Genesis 3, like after the fall, like we had like people like Adam and Eve had stuff to do, but it wasn't like they had to like work in the same way. Like, oh, I gotta go earn the dollars to like pay for this stuff. That's like man's curse. Because I always knew about like the women in childbirth.
Oh yeah.
Like that was the woman's curse. Because like mammals and
Because
stuff,
I talked about it.
they don't like experience that same like pain. But like humans do. Women do.
Fall of man. Woman. So
like,
man's curse is working.
Like that was another one of those things where it's like I feel like I'm relearning it for the first time.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
What I wanted to end with was just to ask you if you have come across this as well this week.
Are we speaking of stop signs?
We're not speaking of stop signs yet.
Okay.
It's called CosMcs.
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 So it's like CosMcs.
Yep.
Does it have anything to do with McDonald's?
It does.
Oh.
It is a new concept from McDonald's. They are starting a new fast food chain, umbrellaed under McDonald's family. But it's aimed at the afternoon like snack drink market, like competing with like the Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts,
kind of like a
type of
gas
companies.
station.
Almost, yeah, almost like
Kind of like a gas station that you can like order food at
and like drive through.
Yeah.
So they opened their test location in a suburb outside of Chicago this past week.
Illinois.
And seems like it did pretty well. I read in the article that somebody waited 3 hours for a frappe. Or a frappe.
Frappe?
I think it's frappe. But they're going to be opening, I think, 10 locations in Texas this year. Or at least some locations in Texas.
Interesting.
And just try to like test out different things. From the article though, it's like a lot of like flavored drinks.
Sandwiches,
churro, frappe, s'mores, cold brew, turmeric spiced latte.
Interesting, dude.
Sour cherry energy bursts, blackberry mint green tea, popping pear slush.
So this is like no offense. This is geared toward the white girl. Average American white girl.
Maybe.
Like the frou-frou, like...
You know what's really weird, though, is, like, I've gotten to the point at the gas station where I don't want anything in there other than water. Like, water, maybe a protein bar, but those are even getting to the point where it's like...
Hey, 2 for $3.50 on Nesquik's sometimes on Sundays?
Oh, shoot.
Dude, those are
Chocolate milk. Chocolate milk's number 2 on the list.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Gas station. But... I have had this thought recently where it's like, where could I get like a drink or a snack in the afternoon? I don't want to go anywhere and buy anything.
Right.
But if I were to, where would I go? It's like these fast food places are kind of played out.
Let's go to Illinois.
Honest. I got some driving to Illinois. But yeah, I thought that was
sure
interesting.
Kyle would come with you. I
hope he would.
Yeah. So interesting. An afternoon restaurant.
Like, I don't know what time they're planning. Like, I don't know if this is going to be like a 24-hour thing, but like their hot market is like afternoon,
Right. That's what they want to, that's what they're trying to ping.
That maybe like, hey kids, after school, come grab your drink. Or like moms driving their kids. What? Moms driving their kids home from school after they pick them up.
Or practice
After a sporting thing.
Yeah, like a Saturday, like soccer practice. Soccer moms taking their kids.
Yeah. Or kid just got out of daycare. Let's stop at CosMc's and grab a drink. Also, the food. There was food. Let me pull it up real quick.
The avocado bacon slurry. Blurry.
Spicy queso sandwich, creamy avocado tomatillo.
Tomatillo.
I could see the double L's. Pretzel bites, caramel fudge brownies. So like, it's kind of just
all over the place. Oh, and the egg McMuffin, right?
The egg McMuffin will also be here. It's just like a concoction of like appetizers. It's like an appetizers fast food.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if it makes it to Michigan, if it's successful. Huh. I don't mind it. If it gets people away from social media.
It would put people more on social media.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not, because they're driving. I gotta drive to go get some lunch.
People use their phone and drive.
No, that's fine.
I do.
I don't.
I'm just kidding. The only time I do is like switching up the Spotify.
There's something. Okay, I would like to hit on this real quick. There's got to be something wrong with you if you're like on social media while driving, right? You've got to be addicted, right?
You're saying like scrolling Instagram whilst driving on the highway?
Yes. Like I get it. You're in your bed, like start scrolling. Like sure, like that makes sense to me. Like obviously you don't want to do it, but you sometimes get caught in doing it.
Logically, you can align them.
Yes, that logically makes sense. While driving, like do people do that?
Oh yeah. You're stuck behind somebody slow on the highway. Guaranteed they're on their phone.
Crazy. Not in Michigan though. We'll turn you in. Actually, your passenger will turn you in. Passenger seat.
Oh yeah.
It's got to do it.
Yeah.
Crazy. That people are stupid.
Yeah.
Not the people that watch this video.
No.
Not them.
No. Like if you're watching this while you're driving.
No, you're not dumb. Nor stupid.
Yeah. So
Genuinely society. But yeah.
That's been episode 83 of the Young Bucks podcast. Just a lot of thoughts Chris and I have had over the past week.
Just bounce.
We're excited to continue growing, keep grinding, things like that. If you're
Yes,
listening on audio,
subscribe.
be sure to leave a 5-star review.
Oh, for sure. Leave a review.
And if you are
Sorry.
not already subscribed over on the YouTube, go head over there. We're almost to 200 subs. And if you are watching on YouTube, like the video if you made it to this point, man. I mean, that's pretty special.
Yeah.
Drop a comment.
Jack.
Shout out to Jack, man. We love you. And we'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Peace.
Bye.